Logan Paul and Floyd Mayweather was this international event, so let's talk about it. I see like it was the most read story in The Guardian yesterday, so there's obviously an interest there. Like Mayweather kicked it off in his press conference afterwards and said, because all the journalists are saying, well, like the crowd are booing you at the end, there's not even judges, there's no winner here, and it was like a sparring session for a lot of it. And Mayweather sort of said, in effect, I'm not directly quoting him here, but he said like, listen, if you're all dumb enough to watch it, I mean, why am I going to turn down 50 to 100 million for doing nothing? He said, you can go and write your articles and give out about it. I'm going back to my mansion. Legacy doesn't pay the bills, was what he said. This was just a heist in broad daylight. And like, why wouldn't I do it? I mean, like, so he has a point. If people are dumb enough to watch it, and in America pay the $49.99 pay-per-view, and I think Logan Paul's going to make, they're estimating based on the pay-per-view numbers, he'll make about 20 million. Mayweather somewhere between 50 and 100. Hey, look, if there's a market for it, it's going to happen. Money talks, I suppose.
Yeah, who's the joke on? Like,
yeah,
he's telling us he's robbing us, and we're still paying him.
Yeah.
I'm robbing you, but we're still paying him. It's a popularity.
Sorry, I was just, it came to my mind. I saw a tweet into the show saying that they didn't pay for the fight, that they streamed it. They managed to get the stream for free, and they still felt robbed.
Yeah.
So
I seen that. To be honest with you, I did check the highlights the next day. I just put on the YouTube highlights the next day just to kind of have a look at it. And my God, he came under he was under a bit of pressure and kind of an onslaught there in the first round. And you could actually see, and people are not aware of it, probably not even aware of this. Like everyone's like, oh yeah, it's Mayweather. He's gonna smash him. Like he's the best boxer ever. But let's look at it from a boxing point of view, and the whole kind of a size, weight categories, all that kind of, carry on. Like your man was 30 plus pounds heavier than Mayweather.
I have it here. He was near 20 years younger. He had a 4-inch reach advantage, and he was 34 pounds heavier than Mayweather. So, like in anyone's money, that's a lot to give up.
It's huge. It's huge, and it doesn't matter whether he's a technical or has this kind of finesse or whatever, boxing ability. He doesn't have to have that. He's a YouTuber. He was never school boxing, but like he can throw a slap. Like most people can throw a slap. You know what I mean? Like most people can swing their hands and let them out. And if he catches you with one of them on top of the head without any head guard, that's going to hurt, no matter who you are.
Yeah.
So you could actually see Mayweather very clever in the first round, brought his elbows up very high, and we call him in the boxing world, he put the earmuffs on, like he really protected his head, so much so because he knew this guy was going to come out all guns blazing, all swinging, and then eventually like the gas runs out of the tank for Logan Paul, or is Logan? Is it? It's Logan, is it?
That says all.
Jake Logan. Yeah, they're two brothers.
That says all we need to know about this situation, I suppose. Isn't it? And so that first round where Logan Paul comes out and throws a million punches, just like this is like outside of takeaway stuff, is that the most dangerous round for Mayweather?
Of course it is. Yeah, because that's when he's full of energy, full of power, full of strength, and then as soon as he starts, it's a bit like those old computer games, the way like, the Street Fighter or whatever, you go and you use your maximum move or your maximum power strength and you do your move, and that's what it was like. It was like Logan Paul was doing his best moves, but his energy was sapping all along. And of course, Mayweather was never going to meet him and fight fire with fire. He was really just like a turtle, putting the earmuffs on, bringing up the shell, protecting his head, because that was Mayweather's not going to get knocked out with body shots or arm shots, whatever. He was protecting the most precious thing in the fight, which is his noggin, his head, because he knows one good slap, doesn't matter who you are, you can be the best boxer in the world. One good slap off someone 30 plus pound heavier than you will do serious damage to a head that's not protected. So he was very clever in how he kind of protected that and just let Logan Paul's energy, like I only seen the highlight clip, but it seemed like he just let his energy sap down and then just start picking off the rounds, and he was never going to knock out Logan Paul. People are saying, oh, he's going to knock him out. Again, the same thing is, there's a flip side to what I said about 30 plus pounds. Mayweather was 30 less pounds, so he wasn't going to have the same effect with his power punches. And as well, he's 47 years old and so long out of the game, all that. But look, at the end of the day, it was a show. It was a spectacle. It was some people might say a circus or whatever, but there's two lads going away there and they're after making a fortune. And that's just the way the world has gone now with social media. And social media just has so much of an impact and so much say on sporting events now. It's almost like whatever social media calls for, they get, you know.
Yeah, for sure. I was just looking at the stats. Logan Paul, he threw 217 punches. He landed 28 of them. Like I said, there was no judges, so there was no official winner, and there was booing at the end of the fight. I think people felt like they wanted to see a knockout of some kind. So, like, I was reading in a few pieces that Mayweather could have knocked him out if he wanted to. You're not so sure because of size.
I don't think so. There was another clip where they said like Mayweather hit him around the back of the ear and he was knocked out. He was concussed, and Mayweather held him up. Be honest with you, I think Mayweather would have loved to make that. My opinion was that's just the way the camera angle caught that clip. I didn't think your man might have been a little bit dazed or whatever, but he definitely wasn't. Mayweather didn't hold him up. I don't think Mayweather would be able to hold him up either. Like, you know, a man's joined towards Mayweather. But I think if Mayweather had the chance to make mincemeat of him, he would have, you know, but he didn't. He was like all Mayweather cared about was just winning the fight. Like, I know it wasn't judged officially, but Mayweather just wanted to kind of not get knocked out, not take any damage, and just get through the rounds, and in the boxing people's opinion, have the verdict basically. As you know, that's all he wanted to do, you know. But
get back to his mansion.
Just money.
Yeah. I mean, he's never really cared. I mean, geez, I don't know how many nights how many long nights with mates back in my all too distant youth, trying to stay up late and watch a Mayweather fight, only for 10, 11 rounds in for someone to just say, this lad is just too boring. Like, you know, he didn't care. I mean, he was an artist. I presume you loved watching him, but he is not going to care about putting on a show in a fight like this.
No, he's not. But isn't it interesting, Joe, that one man can have so much? And well, there's a lot of men out there, I'm sure, that have such an obsession with money. You know, like he's a wealthy man, a very, very wealthy man. He doesn't need to do those things, you know. And yeah, you might say, sure, it's risk free or whatever. It's not completely risk free, but Mayweather knows what he's doing, you know.
Yeah.
But it's not completely, you know, without risk, basically. Like, but you'd imagine like he's enough money to not have to go and go through this kind of stuff again. But he's obsessed. He's absolutely obsessed with making money. You know, like I think he's the first billionaire sportsman in the world, and he wants to continue making more. So he said you can't eat legacy, or your children can't eat legacy, was the line I read.
Yeah, I think he said himself he viewed this as like daylight robbery. He's like, you're going to pay me how much to fight Logan Paul? Okay, sign me up. You know, did he even how much training did he do? I don't know. You know, so there we are. Look, I don't know. It's weird even analysing the fight. It's hard to know what to make of it. But as you said, it's kind of a noteworthy direction for the sport. We had the McGregor-Mayweather fight. Logan Paul is that's a different beast entirely. At least McGregor has some kind of background in fighting. I know Logan Paul was a wrestler, I think, but compared to McGregor, he has no credentials whatsoever. But 66 million followers on social media. So the fact, I mean, this will be deemed a success now. He's made 20 million out of this fight. Mayweather's made somewhere between 50 and 100. I mean, the brother is kind of all this. He's kind of calling people out as well. I suspect we'll see a few more of these. If they're making money, they're going to happen. Do you think they're, I don't know, damaging in any way to boxing, or is it just like whatever? It doesn't really make a difference either way.
Well, I think Mayweather versus McGregor was not so much welcomed at the start, but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed watching it, and I was curious to find out how it would happen. Well, I wasn't really curious. I knew exactly what would happen, but I just wanted to see it, just as out of curiosity, to see what it would be like. I actually predicted exactly how the fight would go, you know, and it went exactly that way. But McGregor, as you said, he had credibility. He was a former amateur boxer. He was now a world champion, proven, tested in a mixed martial arts sport.
Yeah.
He wasn't coming into this, you know, off the back of from the gaming world, you know. But now that, you know, I was okay with that. I didn't want it to become a common thing. I didn't want it to become a popular thing. I just wanted it to become a kind of a flash in the pan thing. Let's all have a look at it. Grant, move on. We've seen But now it's just it's starting to kind of pick up a bit of pace. But the bar is dropping. The bar is dropping low. You know, when you're bringing in gamers and YouTubers and all that, and there's a lot of boxing people really, really affected by this, and there's a lot of feathers being ruffled because a lot of them, as I mentioned earlier on about Emmett Brennan taking out a loan for himself. Do you know what I mean? Like taking out, like a lot of people have trained their backsides off for years and years, who are trying so hard to make it, you know, and even making it doesn't mean you're going to be financially secure for the rest of your life. Like these boxers who are going to the Olympic Games, it doesn't mean they're going to be, they might be household names for a while, but doesn't mean they're going to be financially set up, or you know, they might do well, they might get a few sponsors or whatever, but it doesn't mean they're going to hit the big time, you know. It's just a dream come true for a lot of people to represent their country in the Olympic Games. But when you have these guys, these YouTubers and these kind of, what would you say, influencers and stuff like that, being able to get in and mix it at the very top level of a sport as old as boxing, no, it's very strange. It's very strange.